Good morning. I thought I would do a very quick vlog today. I'm going to the Dickens Museum with my mum, which I'm so excited for. Even though I've been living in London for a fair few months now, I haven't really done that much London tourist stuff, and there's nothing like having people to visit to remind you of the stuff that's available on your doorstep that you really want to do. I wanted to go to the Charles Dickens Museum all my life, and I'm so thrilled to be going with my mum because she absolutely loves and adores Charles Dickens. Like, her reading pattern is literally she reads a book that's not Dickens, and then she misses Dickens and goes back to Dickens, and then she feels like she ought to branch out and read something that isn't Dickens, and then she just rereads another Dickens. Yeah, she really, really loves him and treasures his work, and she's never been either, so it's going to be really special going with somebody for whom seeing the objects that he held and being in the space that he used to live in will mean so much. And nice for me as well, whilst I'm out, my parents have come to stay, and my dad and my husband are going to put up some shelves for my books, which I'm really excited about. I think this will just be a fairly quick vlog. I'll show you a few little clips of my time in the Dickens Museum, and hopefully this will encourage me to get back into vlogging because I haven't vlogged for literally months. So we arrived at the Dickens Museum, which used to be Charles Dickens's actual house. It's where he lived when he wrote some of his early novels. So like Nicholas Nickleby was written here, for example. And we were kind of hungry when we arrived, even though it wasn't quite lunchtime yet. So we went to the Pickwick Cafe, which is in the back of the museum, in which you can actually just attend whether or not you pay entrance for the museum. I would really recommend it. It was a really sweet little cafe. And I had a cream tea, which was wonderful. And after that, feeling refreshed, we headed into the actual museum. You start off by going downstairs and looking around the servants' quarters, which was so interesting because you really got a sense of how a house like this was run and the space that there actually was and how many servants there were. So I think they had 3 live-in servants. The scullery in the back where they did the washing, as you can see, is actually like an incredibly tiny space. There's an audio tour that you can listen to as you're going around as well, which explained what went on in all of these different rooms and was really interesting. Then we moved upstairs to the ground floor where you can see Dickens's love of entertaining. There were examples of menus that his wife had created. The table was laid as it would have been laid for Dickens having loads of guests round. And yeah, the rooms were just beautiful. Dickens was described as a very flamboyant man who really invested full energy in all aspects of his life, his work, his play, his social life, and you could see that reflected in the decor of the house. Up another floor to the level on which Dickens had his living area and his study. It was incredible to see all of the beautiful Dickens novels. There was Dickens-related artwork all over the walls, including some of the paintings and portraits that he had painted of himself and his wife during his life. As I said, this was the house that he lived in. I think he moved there when he was 25, so he was pretty young with his wife and a couple of children, and that was the stage of his life that was reflected in the museum. Up to the next floor, which was the bedrooms and the attic, which they had done up like a children's nursery. It took us we were probably looking around for a couple of hours. It's quite a small museum, but we really took our time in each of the rooms, really soaking in the atmosphere and listening to the audio guide. And then we went back to the Pickwick Cafe for a delicious lunch. After this, we headed outside and got the bus home. Managed to get a front seat on a double-decker bus, which is the dream when you're travelling through central London, so it was really nice to observe London from that perspective. The Dickens Museum made such a nice day out. We did it in a really leisurely way, and I would highly recommend. Okay, I am back from the Dickens Museum. It was a super, super lovely day. The shelves are looking gorgeous. The rest of my family's in the room with the shelves right now, so I will just insert a clip of them so that you can see how nice they look. I'm so happy to have my books up at last. I realise I should have done a before shot, but yeah, just try and imagine that space as utterly blank wall, and you can see how much improved it is. It kind of made me want to cry seeing all my books up on the shelves. They've just been shoved away in the wardrobe in such a way that I couldn't see them, and it feels like having parts of myself back in my space again. It's such a lovely feeling. I know all book lovers will understand what I mean about how the books that we have in our space kind of feel like little parts of our soul that surround us and comfort us and nurture us purely by their presence. There's something almost alive about physical books, and I love it so much. So yeah, all in all, a successful day. The Dickens Museum was really fascinating, such a fun day out. I would highly recommend. You definitely could do the Dickens Museum in an hour, a couple of hours if you were rushing, if you were only in London for a really short space of time and this was like the only time in your life that you were going to be here and you wanted to do loads of other London tourist stuff. But if you have the opportunity to take it more slowly, I would really recommend that as a way to see it. It was such a pleasant day. And I've enjoyed showing you around. I hope you enjoyed seeing Charles Dickens's wonderful home. Hope you're doing well. If you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. It really does help. And I look forward to seeing you soon in another video. Bye bye.